I just wanted to make this video to talk about another video which was made by a YouTuber called Dark Space. Now, he makes in-depth and visually very impressive videos about video games, and he's done quite a few on GTA 6, including his latest ones, and I'm sure many of you have seen them already, but essentially using the data revealed in the GTA 6 leaks, as well as what we've seen in the first trailer and what the GTA mapping community has compiled, he has made part of the GTA 6 map. Now, it's only a very small bit, and it took him 4 days, but what he's done is very impressive. I'm going to link the full videos below if you haven't seen them already. But the thing I wanted to talk about was that using that information, he's put together a full-sized version of the GTA 6 map, which he's then imported into GTA 5. Now, he did this with the leaked map data from Rockstar itself, so this is about as accurate as we can get at this point. Although I do want to preface this by saying we can't be 100% certain of anything at this point. But after importing this GTA 6 map into GTA 5, he timed himself flying over the maps in the same helicopter to try to illustrate the difference in size. So the GTA 5 map took 3 minutes 30 seconds. The GTA 6 map took 6 minutes 10 seconds. Now, in the follow-up video, he does the same, and it looks like the GTA 6 map takes 5 minutes 15 seconds, and the GTA 5 map takes 3 minutes 19 seconds. But either way, the map is still significantly bigger in GTA 6. And in that follow-up video, the GTA 4 map takes just a minute to cross in a helicopter. So that also sort of shows you how small that map was in comparison. I'd really love to know the figure for Red Dead Redemption 2. Obviously, there aren't any helicopters in Red Dead Redemption 2, but I'm sure there's a way you can mod one in. But like many things, with video game maps, it's not just about how big they are, it's also about what you do with them. The Red Dead Redemption 2 map feels a lot bigger than it is because it's fairly sparse. There are lots of kind of wide open spaces with very few, if any, man-made structures, and that works well for a Western game. It maybe didn't work so well in GTA 5, where we have this big city, and then north of that we have a large part of the map that's sort of just made up of mountains and desert. So I think the real test for GTA 6's map will be how diverse it is, and based on what we've seen so far, we're expecting it to be very diverse, really. We've got Vice City, which we expect to be huge. Then we've got hopefully a couple of other smaller cities. We've got the Keys, a huge lake, some more rural areas, and of course we've got the Everglades, or the Grass Rivers, as we expect it to be called. And I really hope the Grass Rivers area is big and immersive and really feels separate from the cities. So I think the big challenge will be fitting all of these areas in and blending them all together seamlessly. So while we're talking about the GTA 6 map, I thought it would be a good opportunity to have a look at the GTA 6 mapping project, which I haven't really talked about here before. So this is it here. There are a few different versions, as you can see. Some are more detailed than others, and I'll stick with the main one here. This is the main one, the most detailed one perhaps. And if we put just quickly GTA 5's map over the top of it, you can see that is a quite significant difference. Now, just quickly, a look at the key. So these are roads, but if you see red ones, red lines are basically speculation. So we have a speculative road, speculative alley, speculative highway, metro, railways, borders. And the ones that are kind of dotted like this are highly speculative borders. The red ones are speculative buildings. A lot of these details, especially when you see these white marks here, these white dots, they are to do with what's been seen in the leaks and what's been seen in the trailer. So if we start here in Vice City, obviously this is the area that we know the most about at the moment. So we've got the Vice Beach area here, lots of names of hotels and so on, and buildings, various buildings. This is the beach that we see in the trailer. And if we kind of head north up here, There's some interesting things like hidden tide objects. So tank. This is actually a real thing, by the way. Somewhere in Florida, somewhere in Miami, I believe, there is an old army tank that's kind of hidden by the tide. So hidden tide objects, plural, seems to suggest that there will be multiple things like this. Maybe we have kind of realistic tide movements, and that will kind of, the tide will go out and we will see things hidden beneath the surface of the water that we might not normally see. This is the Bayshore area of Vice City or Vice Beach. The Pelican Harbour we've got here. Leaf Links Golf Club. This is something that we see in the original GTA Vice City as well. Here we've got some bridges going across. This one we see in the trailer here, the Venetian Islands, as they're called. This area is called Stockyard, which we again see in some of the leaks and in the trailers. Little Haiti, and we've got some, condominium buildings here, tennis courts, some houses and flats and so on. And over here, Rockridge area, and again, see various buildings, maybe a gun shop here, police station. There are some smokestacks here. This is an area we see in the trailer as well. Then if we go south, down here we see Brickell, which is the name. I think if it's a lot of these places, this is what it's called in real life, Brickell or Brickell. So this here, we've got a few other buildings going on, West Perrine or Perrin, and a bridge going across here to a tennis centre, and the Port Vice City, which again we see in the trailer. Got an island here called Fisher Island with a Palazzo del Sol and Villa di Mare. And here we are. These are the keys down here as we go further south. So we've got Virginia Key, Key Biscayne. These are what they're actually called in real life. And the keys continue down here. People were speculating they could be called the Gator Keys. Underwater Research Facility. Again, this is something that's been in the leaked world events list and is something that is in real life. The Aquarius Research Station is an actual underwater scientific research base, which I think is the only underwater research base in the world, but it's roughly in this area as well in real life. Here we have the bridge going across, linking the keys, and down here to Naval Air Station, and we kind of see in the trailer as well not a blimp, but like a big kind of weather balloon type thing over here somewhere, I think, which I believe is linked to the Naval Air Station. And then we have Sundown over here. And then just north of the Keys, we have, as I was talking about before, the Grass Rivers area or the Everglades. And this is one of the areas I'm most excited about exploring. And so here we have Flamingo Wildlife Institute, HQ. We've seen in the trailer that there will be flamingos in this area, so this is obviously something to do with that. Research/poacher shack, animal enclosure. This will be a really fun area to explore because I can imagine it being really sparse and not much going on, but then maybe you stumble across an old shack or a lookout of some sort. I think that would be really interesting. Then here we've got Homestead. I think in the game it's probably going to be called Hamlet. We've seen an area called Hamlet, and Hamlet, Homestead mean very similar things, so that would make sense. This is an area that features in the leaks as well. We've got a Dollar Laundry and a supermarket of some sort. I think that's what a mart is. There's also a theatre. I assume that means like what Americans call a movie theatre, a cinema. Rattlers and TN Vito, whatever that is. Here we've got a power plant, very kind of Simpsons-esque. And over here we've got Vicedale County Jail. Now we can see from these green marks here and here that this is the jail that Lucia is being kept in. We see the opening shot is this one here. You can see 3 seconds in the shot of the outside of the prison. We see the sewage treatment plant there. There's a radio mast somewhere here, and Lucia inside the prison as well. Just north of that, we have the Vice City International Airport, which has the Metro Mule or VCIA mover here, which is a kind of like monorail type thing, which would hopefully take you all the way into the city somehow. And this is obviously going to be the main airport in game, but it would be really cool to see a few different airports. Maybe this is the big one, and then we have a couple of smaller ones. Obviously, in GTA 5, we had the big Los Santos International Airport, but we also had Mackenzie Field Airfield, and we had the Sandy Shores one as well. I can't remember what that was called, but those were much smaller airfields. It would be cool to have kind of an airport, a proper airport, but maybe on a smaller scale than this one, because they do take up a lot of space on the map, realistically. Here we've got some apartments, some motels or hotels, and a church, some tower blocks, and again, this is back into the Rock Ridge area. Just over here, something I forgot to mention before, the Jack of Hearts strip club is something that we see in the leaks, and these are some of the TikTok clips that we see in the trailer. Further up here, we have a petrol station. This is the one, I believe this could be the one with the naked man running past. It's in the trailer at 50 seconds. I obviously don't know exactly what that is, but Planet Leonidas Man, I'm pretty sure that's the clip of the naked man being chased by the police officer. Here we've got a building under construction. Hopefully it's not under construction for as long as the Mile High Club in GTA 5 or GTA Online. We've got a parking garage. This is another area called Waning Sands. We've got a yacht club, some condominiums again, some golf, construction site, a mall. It would be really cool to go in the mall. We had an enterable mall in GTA Vice City, and it kind of was a weird experience because it felt very much, you know, lifeless and kind of soulless and dead. But it would be really cool if you could have, especially as like malls are dying in America, you always hear and see these videos about empty shopping malls or malls being demolished. So it would be cool to have kind of maybe one that's kind of quite busy and bustling, and another one that's a bit dead and maybe lots of shuttered shops. Then up here we of course have Lake Leonidas. I think this is based on Lake Okeechobee in real life, but this is expected to be a huge lake in the middle of Leonidas. Over here we have Ambrosia. There's Peanut Island with a presidential bunker. I don't know if that's a real thing. I assume that there will be presidential bunkers in places in America, but I don't know if Peanut Island is inspired by a real island with a presidential bunker in it. Tyres in the Ocean and Osborne Reef, North Beaches. Up here we seem to have an area called Seaview. Obviously up this northern part of the map is lacking a lot of detail because most of what we've seen so far is from Vice City and a little bit in the leaks from Port Gellhorn, which I'll get to in a minute. But there's still, what's very exciting is that there's still lots that we haven't seen yet, and hopefully in the second and third trailers we will see more of this. But also it'd be nice if some of it was kept a little bit of a surprise. So yeah, Seaview, St. Joseph here, Fairyland Forest. Now this is something I'm going to talk about, and I have talked about before, but I will talk about in a video that's upcoming in the next few months. This is, lots of people have been speculating that Fairyland is like a Disneyland, or in this case, because it's Florida, Disney World, and it'll be like a Disney-inspired theme park. I've spoken a bit about that and how that would be really cool, and it would make sense if we get kind of a fictional Orlando incorporated into Leonidas somehow. It would make sense to have a big theme park. But I've also talked about how realistically that would take up a lot of space if it was kind of accurate to life, because the Disney parks are absolutely massive. And also, if it is kind of Disney inspired, they might have to be careful because Disney might not be too happy about being associated with a kind of a game that's known for nudity and swearing and killing and prostitution and drugs and all that sort of stuff. But we will see. Fairyland Forest could be other things. I mean, when I hear Fairyland Forest, I think of something a bit more kind of, you know, fairies and elves. I don't necessarily think of like Disney kind of stuff. Here we've got Red Hill Forest as well, an area called Red Hill. that's an actual place in the UK. I don't know if there's an actual place in Florida called Red Hill. But here we have some domed hills and a railway tunnel here, which would be interesting. Hank Hill, I think that's the guy from American Dad. No, not American Dad. King of the Hill. Isn't that the show? I've never really watched it, but pretty sure his name is Hank Hill. Also interesting to see hills here because Florida in real life is very flat. It's a very flat state, notoriously flat. And so obviously we don't know how big these hills are going to be, but if we do have some kind of huge hills or some kind of mountain-sized hills, that might suggest that the map is not only inspired by Florida, but maybe some surrounding states like, I don't know, Georgia, for example. Which would be really cool because personally one of my favorite places I've ever visited is Savannah, Georgia. And I would absolutely love for that to feature in an open world video game like GTA, but I mean, I'm not holding out my hopes for that. Down here we have another bridge here going into Port Gellhorn. And I was talking about airports before. It looks like there might hopefully or probably be an airfield or an airport here. This would make sense. This is probably going to be, will Port Gellhorn maybe be like the second city in the map, the kind of second largest city? I don't know, it's hard to tell at the moment. From what we've seen, this is kind of an area that was featured quite heavily in the leaks, I believe. And because this is where up here we've got Hank's Waffles and the motel and the car wash that we see in kind of the most prominent part of the leaks. It didn't look like a huge city, but we were possibly on the outskirts here. But there seems to be quite a bit going on. We've got gas station Coyotes, Mr. Bingo, whatever that is, Ferris wheel, pawn shop, Parker City Hall, Parker Police Station, Parker Public Library. I don't know why it's called Parker if it's Port Gellhorn. Maybe that's like the district or the county or something. I'm not quite sure. Gellhorn Bluff, that's quite interesting. Goodwill Career Training Centre, Yellow Barn Warehouse, Lucky Plucker, Pawn and Gun Shop, Kingslayer Charters, Pier 98, Rodeos, Redbird Cafe, Twice the Ice. So fair number of businesses here. And this is also interesting, a drag strip or a runway or slash runway. I guess it's used for both. And we saw here Port Gellhorn Raceway. And that's something that I very much expect, always would have imagined that would be in GTA 6. NASCAR is from Florida. NASCAR is such a big thing that you would expect a raceway or a kind of a racetrack like this to be somewhere in the map. And interestingly, down here we have another prison. This is not the prison that Lucia was being held at in the trailer. This is something else, which we've seen in the leaks as well. Leonidas State Prison, and the other one was called, where was it? Vicedale County Jail. I wonder if the fact that Lucia is being held in county jail instead of a state prison means that she's serving time for a lesser crime, a misdemeanor or something, possibly something like theft, robbery, maybe even armed robbery. But I mean, we know that at some point she's going to get out the prison and have an ankle tag. So you would assume that she's not done anything too serious. Otherwise, they wouldn't be letting her out like that. Got some industrial buildings and a cell tower here. And if we go further north again, we've got this bridge, as I said, Bocamar Bridge or Bocama Bridge. Not quite sure how to say that. Oh, quickly, I should just point out, here we've got a church and the Gellhorn Chimney and Dilapidated Mill here somewhere, which is really interesting. I'd love to see more abandoned kind of buildings like that in GTA 6. But going across this bridge here, we've got a few buildings we know about over this side in a kind of port area, dry dock, cranes, brick buildings of some sort, tower, mast, but not a whole lot going on over here at the moment. Here we've got Yorktown as well and Bohemia, areas that we don't know basically anything about at the moment. So that's a kind of look at the mapping project at the moment. This is always being updated, so I'm going to make sure to be kind of keeping on top of it and Hopefully we'll make more videos about it as we get more trailers and as we get more screenshots and details that can be added into this. The people that are doing this, also full credit to them. I don't know if their names are anywhere on this, but yeah, here you go. These people are incredible at what they do and they really know their stuff. And for those who are kind of saying, oh, well, this is just speculation. Yes, a lot of it is speculation, but the mapping project for GTA 5 was very accurate. It wasn't perfect, but for the most part, the shape of the map, the size of the map, where things were on the map, for the most part, that was pretty much spot on. Talking about maps, I think it's also worth mentioning that one of the things people really love to talk about in terms of GTA 6 is enterable buildings. A load of people have claimed that 70% of buildings in GTA 6 will be enterable, and I don't think that will be the case. But we are expecting to see at least 157 enterable buildings. That's one area, I think, where GTA 5 was lacking. So it would be good to have a big, immersive map with lots of areas to explore, both indoors and outdoors. But personally, I find it a bit overwhelming if there are too many enterable buildings. I mean, who has the time to go into every single one of them? And if you don't go into every single one of them, then you kind of feel like you're missing out on something. Anyway, what do you think about the potential size of the GTA 6 map? Would you like it to be bigger? Would you like it to be smaller? Or maybe around the same size as GTA 5's or Red Dead Redemption 2's? Also, what kind of areas would you like to see and what sort of buildings would you like to be able to enter? We've already seen some interesting places mentioned in the leaked world events list, including quite a few abandoned buildings, as I was talking about before, so hopefully we can explore those. Also, please go and check out Dark Space's channel and his videos and subscribe to him. He really puts a lot of work into his videos, and his latest one cost him more than like $3,000. So let's help him out in any way we can.